note there is a renewed confidence. There's big promises this time around, as there were last time, but there's something different. The vibe is a little bit different, Mick. I don't know how quite to put my finger on it here, but almost immediately, and I think this is by design as well, it's no accident that the Trump administration has always been an administration that doesn't really, fit in with the normal media cycles and how, governments want to run things by dripping out announcements and making sure they get bang for their buck on and the right media coverage. He's just done it all in one fell swoop today, and it seems to work for him because the overriding message on day one is he is going to get things done.
Now, your original point is a good one, which is the atmosphere is just different. I mean, I was at the inauguration in 2017. He had just named me to join the cabinet. So I was up on the stage with him and then spent the whole day doing stuff like this that you're seeing now. And the atmosphere, though, was the country was kind of stunned. No one really expected him to win. I certainly didn't. I'll be honest with you. He certainly didn't. And the media in this country certainly didn't. So there was sort of a state of shock, especially amongst our press, that Donald Trump had been elected the 45th president. That's no longer the case. Well, there's still certainly elements of our political electorate, elements of our media who are really, really, struggling to deal with the fact that he won. Generally speaking, most ordinary Americans are like, okay, Donald Trump won. Now what? Now what is he going to do? So it's more of a normal transition than it was 8 years ago. As for Donald Trump doing everything in one fell swoop, that's where I think folks are missing the message here, which is that this is just the beginning. Yes, he did 225 executive orders in his whole first 4 years. He might do as many as 200 today, but that doesn't mean he's only going to do 25 for the next 4 years. I think you're going to see a much more assertive, much more aggressive policy Donald Trump here in the second term than you did in the first, because they know what they're doing. They were ready this time. They told people what they wanted to accomplish. The people gave them a clear majority in the election, and they're going to do exactly what they said they were going to do during the campaign.
Yeah, you talk about resistance, and there seems to be even, those who are the independents or sitting in the middle here, they're like, okay, Donald Trump's back, let's do this thing. But what about the Republicans and those within, vaguely his own camp that last time that resisted him or undermined him? Where have they gone this time?
It's funny. They had an interview here with Paul Ryan, the former Speaker of the House, who is a big anti-Trump Republican, who was on TV this week, and he said it was time for Republican unity, and even the right-leaning press gave him a hard time about that. So those folks are still around. Here's I think, the more interesting take, which is there's an issue right now, Laura, that is going to be front and center starting actually tonight, which is the TikTok ban. That law went into effect on Sunday. TikTok actually went down in this country for a couple of hours. Donald Trump encouraged it to go back online. It did go back online, and he wants to defend TikTok and try and find a way to leave it up. The law doesn't allow him to do that, and there are many Republicans who voted for that law who are adamant that TikTok needs to be shut down. So this is something that Donald Trump will have to deal with in his first days in office, an issue that divide Republicans. There's some that want to support him and leave TikTok open, but there's many, especially defense hawks that support Donald Trump generally, who say TikTok has to come down. So he's going to end up with a political brouhaha in his first days in office.
Mick, before we let you go, I wanted to ask you about the relationships that Donald Trump has at the moment. Certainly a special bromance with Elon Musk, but we have spoken in the past and about his time as the 45th. He famously fell out with a lot of people. Do you think that's different this time around?
Probably not. I mean, you don't teach an old dog new tricks. Donald Trump is approaching 80 years old. He's not going to change his personality. He'll continue to be as straightforward and direct as he's always been. Are people more willing to accept that now? Maybe. That's why Jeff Bezos has come around and was at the ceremony today. Yeah. Mark Zuckerberg was at the ceremony today. So maybe folks are just willing to accept his unique personality style and get down to dealing with the brass tacks of policy. I think that's what you're going to see out of corporate America. 4 years ago, 8 years ago, they shunned him. Now they sort of accept him as the president, even though some of them may do so begrudgingly. And they just want to figure out if they can work with him. So that will be something interesting to watch as well.